Yeah, I think that if you look at what happened in 2025, uh, both the official narrative and China Beige Book data sort of came to the same place at the end, but they got there in very different ways. If you try to sum up where the economy is right now, it'd say it's weak, but it's good enough for Xi Jinping. And I think that's basically you throw away the GDP numbers. They're going to say they hit five or near five, and that's just a political statement. The actual GDP is nowhere near that. But what actually happened throughout the year was a okay performance. I mean, it's just an okay performance that wasn't great. It doesn't inspire confidence, but the economy's not falling apart. I think that's the part of the official narrative that's really problematic. You see a lot of saw a lot of talk earlier this year about how the economy was strong. It just happened to be when Xi Jinping was in negotiations with Trump in a trade war. Wow, the economy is showing some unusual resilience right now. And I think that when there was a sort of a trade agreement that detente kicked in, and there was less of a geopolitical worry on the part of Beijing, they started to release a more negative story. So by the time you got to the end of the year, they still claimed they hit all their growth numbers, but it was sort of strength early on, and then things got weaker towards the end of the year. That is not what actually happened. Interestingly enough, when we were looking at the data early in the year, first half, we were seeing weaker data than they were reporting. It wasn't falling off a cliff week, except for the time around March, April, Liberation Day tariffs, China tariffs kicking in. There was some pretty weak data along at that time. But by and large, the data were weak at the end of the year, and they sort of strengthened as you went through the year. Again, not great, not good, but good enough. And so, there was a political narrative that told the story of Chinese economic data through the official lens, which is, when Xi Jinping needed the economy to look resilient, it looked more resilient as the worries, the geopolitical worries, the trade war worries sort of tamped down towards the end of the year. They were more willing to report negative data. We actually saw some of the better data at the end of the year, particularly on year. But at the end of the year, we got to a place where things aren't great, good enough. But look, it's difficult when you look into 2026, which is I think where you want to go next, because a lot of the same drivers that the economy has been relying on for years now look like they're almost dried up.